Hello everybody, Modern Colonist dropping in on you guys with another video. I appreciate you tuning in. The information that you get on this channel should not be followed without any type of your own research. Anything that you do should not be done because you heard somebody say it and you believe it, without you researching and spending the time to educate yourself. This channel also does not have the intention to convince people that have already made the decision that this information does not pertain to them and that they do not need to use it, or don't want to use it, or want to remain blissfully ignorant, or whatever. This channel is not meant to convince anyone. This channel simply is me telling the truth, standing on the truth, and giving people the opportunity to make their own decision. So with that being said, I want to bring your attention to this situation, this context. If you do not believe whenever I tell you that we do not have any rights, especially whenever it pertains to a traffic stop, because of traffic code, because of the presumption that you are a United States citizen, and because the presumption that you are contracted with the state and you are a driver in the state of Ohio or the state that you live in, and you should know that when you sign a document like a driver's license, the term license means permission to do something that is otherwise illegal. That is a license, okay? When you go and you obtain a license in the state that you live in and register your car to the state, the car no longer belongs to you. You have permission to use it, but it belongs to the state in which it is registered to, and the car must follow the rules that they have prescribed for drivers. Getting back to the rights. Test this theory. Now, don't take my advice. Do this on your own if you want to. I'm not a lawyer, and what I'm getting ready to tell you to do is dangerous, and it can hurt you in your life, okay? This information is not meant to be acted upon after a YouTube video. It is meant to trigger a deeper, intuitive research in your own mind to the point of your own comfort and content that you can use the information you've educated yourself on to reclaim your power and knowledge. Simply put, that is it. I am not no lawyer, nor do I ever want to be a lawyer, okay? Test this theory if you so choose to do. Next time you get pulled over for a traffic stop, and I'm not telling you to break any law to get pulled over. That would be ridiculous, okay? Because you would be asking for trouble, in my opinion, that you will definitely get, okay? So this is my theory. If you choose not to believe me whenever I say that we don't have rights, when you get pulled over on a traffic stop, before the police officer says one word to you, simply say to him, "Officer, I'm choosing to invoke my right to remain silent." He is then going to ask you, and ignore you probably, for your driver's license, your registration, proof of insurance. Basically, boiled down, he's asking you for your paperwork. We have the right to remain secure in our persons, places, papers, and effects. That would be your license, your registration, your insurance, whatever, okay? That is your papers, and you have the right to remain secure in them. Try that on a traffic stop, okay? Because you're testing the theory of, do you have rights or not? This is how you would do it. in a situation where you would need to use your rights, you would exercise them and see how it works out for you. So we're doing that in this hypothetical situation. He's going to ask you for your paperwork, and you're going to say, I'm choosing my right to remain silent. He is then probably going to categorize you as a sovereign citizen, and those are terrorists. There has been a lot of violent encounters with those group of people with the police department. They have been trained on sovereign citizens, trained on clues to look for a sovereign citizen, etc. And they are taught that these are dangerous people, terrorists. So whenever you say anything that is you invoking your rights, they are going to immediately call for backup. The cop is probably going to lollygag with you, keep you in conversation, waiting on the backup to arrive, in which time, whenever more than one deputy gets on scene or officer, they are then going to proceed to use force, coercion, threats of violence on you to get you to quit exercising whatever you're exercising. Okay? One brief thought on this. We have grown up in a country where individuality and individual reality for the person has been taken away from people. We have been trained to fit into a category and find ourselves into that category and behave as though we are in that category. We are not taught to make decisions for ourselves, to have a different ideology. A good example of this is in America, you are either a Republican or you're a Democrat or you're an independent. But what if all of those don't fully endorse your perception of reality? Do you not have the right to live in a country that you don't harm anybody in and you live in a way that you wish to live, if that way is different than the norm or the expected way to live for people? You don't have the right to do that. I mean, you have the right to do that in your own home, in your basement, in your closet. You have the right to do that there. But whenever it matters most to use your rights, you will see that they do not matter at all, guys, okay? So back to our hypothetical question where you've told the officer you're invoking your rights and he's waiting on backup. He's probably lumped you into that category we talked about. They are going to give you an ultimatum. They're probably going to say something like, listen, man, we want to be cool. We're trying to work with you. You know, we're trying to work you up out of your rights. We're going to do it politely and gently right now. So just come around for us. And then after that don't work and you stay on your rights and you try to be polite with your rights, they're going to say that you're uncooperative, you're resisting, you're doing all this stuff. You know, they're going to order you out of the car. They're going to order you to be insecure in everything about yourself, okay? And tell you that that is freedom. The Supreme Court upholds that. This is how it's going to be. Here's the deal, buddy. Okay, so now we know where we're at here. We think we got all these rights, but our example is going to show that we don't have those rights. There's even been videos that I've seen of officers saying that I don't have to read you your Miranda rights on a traffic stop, even though you're detained and you're not free to leave and your liberty has been seized and your body has been seized. You are not going to be read your Miranda rights because they don't have to read you your Miranda rights on a traffic stop because you have signed away your constitutional rights. And that is partly your fault, and it's partly indoctrination of the system that we live in because a lot of the police officers have no clue about this stuff. Okay? So, if you would say that what I'm saying about these rights is wrong, I would encourage you to just do whatever you want to do. And you could test that theory if you wanted to or not. I don't care. My job is just to speak the truth as I see it, my perception of reality, tell you how I feel, and give you the decision to educate yourself further or disengage totally. Okay, but what I can tell you is people that disengage totally, they are the reason why our country will end up becoming a top-down governmental controlled system. It already is. Because we live in a democracy that is all about group think. And here's an example of that. If you have 10 people in a room and 9 of them want to vote to get rid of guns, but you are a gun owner and you don't want to give up your guns, in the democracy, your ass is giving them guns up, buddy. Because your wishes as an individual do not matter whenever it comes to the group. That's democracy. We've been taught that democracy is freedom, but democracy does something special. It breeds contempt for each other because democracy wants to force an ideology on the other group of people. Instead of just having a system where the individuals do what they wish to do without harming anybody else, they can live the reality that they want to see. It don't have to make no sense. It could be utterly, out of this world. People can believe in fairy tales and they have the right to do that. They're not hurting anybody. So with that same thought, shouldn't we have the right to believe in anything we want to believe? And if we believe in that, shouldn't that be simply enough? These officers on these traffic stops will tell you, well, yeah, you have the right to believe that you have this right and that the government's this and the government's that, but, everybody feels like that, but this is how it's going to be. Here's the deal. They're telling you that they're enforcing the democracy on you. Your belief is not good enough because it's just a belief. So they're telling you that you're on this planet. You've been here for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years, and you don't have the right to make your own belief and make it worth it. What I mean by make it worth it is basically saying that if you believe in something and you tell the police officer, well, I don't believe that, this traffic stop is constitutional. They're just going to tell you, well, yeah, that's your belief. You have the right to all that, but that belief is not going to stop me from doing what I need to do to you. That's basically telling you that your belief is just, like a dream. You can chase it and you can play with it and you can talk about it in your bedroom and all that. But whenever it comes to real life and actually being out here in the environment and invoking your rights, you don't have any rights, guys. Okay? So they will arrest your ass and they will take you to jail. Okay? So guys, come on, man. This don't make no sense. I mean, if you just think about it for 5 minutes, it don't make no sense, but it's not supposed to, because during our indoctrination process, the 14,000 hours we're mandatorily made to take of indoctrination, do you think that doesn't benefit the people who are, enslaving us? A lot of people cannot see the enslavement. And can you blame them, Because ever since we've been born, we've been commanded to do the wishes of other people. Our parents are this or that, this adult, this cop, that teacher, this counselor. We are mandatorily made to ask, hey, can we use the bathroom? No, you can't use the bathroom. Guys, come on, man. That is MK Ultra mind control. Whenever a child's bladder is stressing them out, they can't focus on nothing but having to go to the bathroom, and they get told, no, you cannot go to the bathroom. Do you not think that is going to subconsciously divert something in their body that would tell them, to follow my own intuition, or for the rest of my life to ask permission for every little thing I do, everything I think? It has to be the normal. It has to be the group thing. It has to be fitting of the group. It has to care for the group. But my individuality is just my belief, and that I don't have the right to impose my belief in anywhere. And especially whenever the laws that are the group's wishes get enforced on me, my beliefs are meaningless. That's not a constitutional republic. That is a democracy. And guys, there is a military training manual. I forget the exact FM it is and what number, but it came out in the 1900s, before the 1950s, before the 1920s, before the 1930s, I believe. I believe it is very hard to find, but once you find it, I did find it online. And it is about the distinction between a democracy and a republic, and how soldiers can be able to protect the homeland from threats that are domestic, not foreign. And that they talked about how the threats that they should be aware of are government threats, guys. It talks about in there how a democracy is one step before communism, and how they get people institutionalized on a democracy, teaching them that that is freedom before the democracy collapses under its own weight and contempt for each other's beliefs and making another group obey your beliefs that they don't agree with. That creates contempt, and then on that contempt, the democracy will fall in chaos and violence. And then on the ashes of that democracy, they're going to build the system that you see them building right now. Okay? It is a 100% total AI control grid. Every corner is going to have a camera on it. Every corner is going to have a cop on it, but it's not going to be a uniformed officer. It's going to be your neighbor. It's going to be a camera. It's going to be whatever it needs to be. You will end up policing yourself. It's going to be like Venezuela or Cuba. Anything you say out of the ordinary can be used to disappear you. That is the system that is already built. It's not going to happen. It's not a conspiracy. It is right in front of you, waiting for the wrong leader to get in office and use the mechanics of this system for a tyranny. They are planning it, and it's already here. They are only waiting for the flashpoint that the democracy is inevitably going to create. Okay, you guys following me? So if you have children, your children are in danger. Your children are in danger from this system that does not respect anything they believe. Only the group is respected. And the groups are easily controlled mentally, guys. Mind control can happen to me. It can happen to you. Human beings are vulnerable to manipulation and influence. And once you know that you can be influenced, you can be misled, then you start putting a guard up. But you can't never have no guard up if you think that you're immune to manipulation. We're not. We are running a program, and that program we don't even realize, and that program is best for our slave masters. I told you guys before, it was legal to have slaves before. It was not legal to help them break free. They were treated as property like a dog, okay? Anything you want to do to them, it can be done to them. It's property. It's no different than taking your washer and dryer out, getting pissed that it ain't washing right, and blowing shotgun holes through it. Because that slave is property, and if they don't do what you say, you can just take them out back and just wallop away. They're property. That was legal. You could take a woman's children and sell them out from under her to a mining company, have them work to death in their mines. And that mother will never see her child again. Never. And that was legal, and that was encouraged. So do you think that this country's laws don't have a historical precedent of being immoral? Well, I'm telling you that they do. It's obvious that they do. You actually cannot question it. It is a fact. So if that is true, then wouldn't it be reasonable to assume that we may have laws today that are immoral, unreasonable, and unconstitutional? Wouldn't you think that the sheriffs and the police officers who have sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution would ever think to themselves, when's the last time I had to tell the government that don't sound right because my job is to enforce the Constitution? They're not gonna do that ever, guys, because they have a pension on the line if they don't listen to who's above them. You know how Nuremberg went with, the following the orders and stuff like that? Well, is it unreasonable to believe that could be happening right now in our country? I'm not so sure that that's an unreasonable fallacy. And there is people out there that have spent years and decades in mainstream education and college that has been taken over by left-leaning politics and ideology. They don't believe that we should have any freedom. They don't believe we should have any guns. They don't believe that people should be able to use their private automobile to get from point A to point B, to take their family to the grocery store, to take their family to the doctor's office without getting a government permission slip. Because how, if you're a family of 3 or 4, how are you going to take your children to the doctor's office or the grocery store to get sustenance for your family whenever you have to ask the government permission and you don't have the money to do that? How are you going to do that? How are you going to support your family? The answer is you're not going to support your family because you're not meant to support your family. The system is meant to enslave you and hold you and grab you. but it's also meant to keep you from the threshold of revolution. That's why we have entertainment, games, media, music, sports. It is meant to keep the slaves from the threshold of revolution. Guys, we are in chains right now. I mean, we are in chains right now, but what we are seeing here is nothing comparable to what the future generations of humanity will face. They will be taken from their homes and placed in dungeon cages for eternity and never to be seen again under the Terrorism Act. Because when they call you the T word, you don't have no rights no more, no trial, no nothing, no court hearing, no due process when they call you the T word. So this is what I wanted to bring to you guys' attention today. I hope that you guys can gain something from this video. And I hope that you can become me. Because there are not enough people like me. There are not enough people that are willing to be degraded and persecuted and spit on in their face by their family, their friends, the government, and everybody to stand up for the rights of those very same people spitting in your face. There's not enough people. Okay? So you should definitely educate yourself on these things. Think about it for 5 minutes, and I guarantee you that you will not look at things the same unless you have cognitive dissonance. Unless that you like the chains of your own enslavement because you have every excuse in the world that they should exist. For safety, for this reason, for that reason. If you get pulled over on a traffic stop and you got all these rights and you start asserting them and they start getting backup called and all this and that, and you got a CCW on you, you are not allowed to have a firearm on you and disagree with your authorities. Those are your slave masters. Those are the people who told you you could have a gun, and they will take it from you. Second Amendment or not. Look at the Supreme Court. They okay it. There's no way for a federal felon that has been out of prison for 10, 20, 30 years to get his gun rights back. They have created a subclass of people that don't have firearm rights no more. There is no way to get them back through the ATF, through restoration of rights. If you are able to be let out of prison and not kept for the rest of your life, why can you not protect yourself from people out here that will hurt you? Doesn't that not make any sense? And if there is a felon that does get a hold of a gun and does hurt you, there's no law that's going to be able to stop that from happening, guys. The only thing that's going to stop that is people that are armed and loving and passionate, but ready to defend themselves and their loved ones. The problem is they try to prohibit all this stuff with laws that they don't work, guys. People are going to break the laws, but the good people are not going to break the laws, and those are the people that the laws are meant for. They're meant to cage the people who actually have 2 cents to rub together by using the underclass of society as the excuse to do it to them and their children. Okay? So think about this, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comment section, because I was probably one of you. I didn't want to believe this stuff. I didn't believe that it was true. I thought it was too good to be true. I thought it was a trick, you know. And also I just didn't want to believe that I was so uneducated and I don't even know my rights or anything like that. So it was so much easier for me to just tell me that this system is just. It is righteous. These people are doing what they're allowed to do. But think about it. Does any man have any right to tell you and have a higher claim over your life and your beliefs than you do? Just because he has a badge, is he any different than you? Well, the answer is yes, because he has the authority of the government and we have no rights because we are slaves. We are slaves legally today, just like the Native Americans were hundreds of years ago. We are there today, but instead of just Native Americans, they have done it to everyone equally. So think about that, guys. I would love to hear you guys' comments and engage with me in the comments section. I love you guys. Be safe, and always remember that the only thing standing between our kids and tyranny is us to put our necks out, maybe get them chopped off, maybe not. That's it. And nobody's going to come to save you except you. Nobody's going to tell you this information and verify it to the point where you are content enough to act upon it except you. Okay? And everybody goes through their own process. Some people come into this information, they leave it, they don't like it, they don't believe it, they come back to it, they leave it again, they're not interested, they got other things going on. But some people eventually come back to where they started with a different mindset. And now these information that they seen before that didn't open up to them opens up to them now in a way that is genuine, that walks with them, that they now feel comfortable with and not compelled to do. My job is simply to bring you this information, to never quit, never give up on the truth, to be optimistic, and to give you guys the free will of making your own choice. Calling me a liar, calling me whatever you want, that is your choice, and you have the right to do that, and I love you for it. I love the people who disagree with me. I just wish that we wouldn't live in a system that my beliefs don't matter if too many people don't agree with me. You know what I mean? That's not a system that nobody wants to live in, because eventually it'll get to the point where too many people think that slavery is good again, and now we're all enslaved, just like happened before. So I wanted to bring you guys this thought. This is you guys picking my mind. Thank you for taking the time to watch this whole entire video, if you did. You guys are special to me, the people that actually watch and listen to me and care about my voice and listen to my opinions and engage me with your disagreements. You guys are important to me. I love you guys. Be safe. And don't forget what I told you. I'm going to see you next time.